Hi everyone, it's Andy Mitchell from the Show Us Your Thing podcast, and just introducing the latest episode, episode 3. This episode we got Jim Burke, aka Barca Jim 3 of Twitter, to talk to us for a little bit, and his thing was a Celtic shirt from 1987, but we don't really talk about that until about 20 minutes in, which is a bit random. We do cover a variety of other interesting topics, though, like how Jim became Barca Jim 3 on Twitter, his opinions on Nigel Slater, which are very interesting, how he got his hashtag numbers on Twitter. We do actually speak about the Celtic shirt, talk about Billy Connolly, Frank McAvenny, Keegan Parker, the ex-Blackpool and Huddersfield Town legend. We talk about Chris Morris, not the comedian Chris Morris, though. No, there's another Chris Morris. It's even more controversial in Jim's mind. We have to talk about football rivalry. Having a poo at the football. Delroy Facey. Growing old. Trusting a fart. Folks that go down to the doctors. Testicular cancers. And prostate exams. Oh, that sounds fantastic, doesn't it? Well, the episode begins bizarrely with Niall telling me a few home truths about who actually listens to this. Enjoy.
Nobody listens to the podcast, Andy.
Well, you say that. It's not even episode 1, not even officially released yet. And it's had, 25 views? I've not even told anyone about it.
Wow.
Mm.
Wow.
25. Count them, Jim.
Wow.
Count
It's a
them.
big family you've got there, Andy.
I know 25 views is going to seem nothing to someone with a Twitter account that's got, 7,000 followers, but every little helps, Jim.
Now, you have to tell you, I'm going to blow my own. It's a pale imitation of Barca Jim 1 or Barca Jim, which had 15,000. Right?
What happened to that?
But, well, there's only so many times you can call Nigel Slater a before they ban you, right? Okay. If anybody's asking for Twitter tips, right, that's it. Do not call Nigel Slater a
But you had Barca Jim 1, the original, which is Barca Jim, and then you had another one.
I had Barca Jim 1, I had Barca Jim on its own, then I had Barca Jim 63, which is the year I was born, and it lasted. Because the thing was, I decided I wasn't going to call them the but I would use right. But again, in Glasgow, this is a thing. In Glasgow, if you're a Glaswegian and somebody says, if you said that, if you approach somebody, Andy, and said, look, Jim, can we have could you have a word with such and such? Can you get him in my podcast? I'd be like, mate, Andy wants to go in the podcast. I said, it's all right. He's a right good right. Right good is pretty much the highest, literally, for CVs. If you could put on your CV, achievements widely regarded as right good. Trust me, that's getting you in the door.
I'd be impressed by that, to be fair, if I saw it on the TV.
It's a Glaswegian thing, but it does not. While it's a Glaswegian thing, it doesn't really float the Twitter algorithm, right? I use, if you search my name just now on Twitter, Barca Jim 3 and redacted word, right? Because that's what I use. I use redact. I just put the wee asterisk, redacted word, asterisk, and oddly enough, that's why Barca Jim 3's lasted 4 years or something like that.
Oh well, so how did you get so popular? What?
It was just truthfully, it was I'd love to say it was my wit and repartee, but a lot of it was historical because when you first went on Twitter, I don't know if you know, you follow an account called Bearded Genius. Big United fan, right? Well, Noz is a pal of mine, right? And you used to do Follow Fridays, the FF hashtag.
FF.
Yeah, and in the day, right? Back in the day, in Twitter, if somebody with a lot of followers FF'd you, you would get a lot of followers off the back of it. yeah. And I had him, and there was a couple other journalist lads that said, "Oh, follow Jim." So that really boosted it right up. But the funniest thing was, I maybe had about 1,000 followers, maybe run about that. So it was a perfect storm. I think it was a Friday, and Piers Morgan was giving evidence at the Levinson inquiry.
Oh yeah.
And it was also on that date that Ant and Dec were doing the text Santa thing, or you had to send a text, and you sent a text and you got it donated 10 quid. So I did a tweet saying, apparently someone has filed for bankruptcy on the basis that they'd pledged £10 to Ant and Dec, and I hashtagged them, and I added them in every time that Piers Morgan said, "I don't remember," at the Levinson inquiry, right? So, decent gag. Lo and behold, Ant and Dec retweet it, right? So we're talking hashtag numbers here, right? But more than that, not only did I get the numbers, I get the followers, because at that time people would be one good tweet, "I'll follow you," right? Because Twitter would be in its infancy, right? So right away I go from 1,000 followers to 1,500. So that's Friday night. So that's it. I've got 1,500 followers. Excellent. Saturday morning, Saturday Kitchen. Who's on Saturday Kitchen? My old chum, Nigel Slater. Right? So I'm faced with only one alternative and one option when Nigel was on. Thing that it is to repeatedly call him a suggest that he's got a basement in his property that requires immediate inspection, etc., etc., etc. By the time the theme tune from Football Focus is playing, I have lost every one of my 500 followers.
No way.
Oh no.
They were Ant Dec followers, right? Ant Dec followers were not really ready.
Target audience, Jim.
It's one of the reasons that you get a lot of certain types of Scottish comedian, apart from the fact that Connolly all Connolly did, in truth, was take a culture in Glasgow and bring it to a wider audience. But that's not, listen, I know at least two guys in Glasgow that I know are genuinely funnier than Billy Connolly. However, they can't do, they can do it in front of 15, 20 people in a pub, but they just couldn't do it in the next stage. And that was Connolly's genius. He is the greatest stand-up ever, because you look at every stand-up, they've had a certain period in their career where they were the greatest and whatever. He did it for 74 or 75, 40 years.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And but all he's doing is a Scottish, the storytelling thing is a very particularly Glaswegian thing. You know, because I've gone, listen, there have been times I've been in nights out, things have happened, and I've not thought to myself, I've thought, this is a great fucking story. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm dining out on this. And even when other people tell me stories, I'm like that, I'll dine out on that. Like, my best mate Brian, I went to his granny's funeral, right? Granny Bessie. Now, Granny Bessie was, in Glasgow you call him a character, right? Now that goes one of two ways. Either you're that can be a character, right? Or you're a right good, and that's another type of character. Bessie switched between the two because she had a fondness for the odd whiskey, apparently, you know. But when Brian was 8 years of age, Bessie got him a birthday present, right? At 8, an ashtray. That's what she bought her 8-year-old grandson for his birthday, an ashtray. Now, in fairness to her, for his 9th birthday, she got him. You'll not remember these. There used to be these true life crime books, right? Which were you got them in certain shops, and they were photographed very much. They looked like comics, but it was true crime inside them. And just let's say it was true crime photographs. So you would open it up, and there is whose brains are all over.
Right,
So that's what That's what he got for his 9th birthday. As soon as he's telling me that, when I hear that story at the funeral, I'm not thinking that's terrible. Phone social services and oh my God, have you got?
I am now.
Exactly right. No, see in Glasgow. Here's your difference. I'm thinking that's a great story. I'm nicking that and I'm going to use that.
So this shirt, the Celtic shirt.
Yes.
We've got some questions. Well, I hope we have, Niall. I hope we've got some questions.
Yes, we have questions.
Okay, right. So that shirt, when you think of that shirt, apart from you, who do you picture in it? Is there any iconic people from the time?
Yes.
Or
yes.
or random players that you just associate with that shirt, even if they really...
Yes, now, 2 players. Yeah. One player is Frank McAvenny, man who apparently tried to convince the court that the thousands of pounds he gave to a drug dealer for a drug deal was in fact to pay for a search for buried treasure.
It reminds me of someone, Andy.
This reminds me of Keegan Parker.
Keegan Parker.
Yeah. Another Scottish guy.
Google it. That's what he did. He got nicked. And one of the other times he got nicked for possession of the quote they read out in the court was when police, arrested Mr. McAvenny, blah blah blah. His comment was, "It's only a bit of personal."
You remember Keegan Parker, Jim?
Who did he play for?
He played for Blackpool, Huddersfield. He played for all the big clubs.
The name, genuinely, the name rings. Is it Keegan?
Keegan Parker. He also made the headlines. Jade Goody.
Oh, I take it before she was.
Yeah, before she was dead.
Okay.
Not alive.
Just checking, You never know, It always pays to ask, I find myself. It always pays to. Things can it's always in the detail, lads. It's always in the detail.
Always in the detail. I've just dragged the quote up on my phone, Niall. And
listen to this. This is a good one.
Okay, you explain the story first, where he is and that.
So he's gone on a night out in Blackpool, and he's smashed up a brothel, like as you do, really.
Oh, indeed.
And he left his phone in the brothel. So he carried on smashing up the brothel, and the brothel wanted compensation for this. So this is what Keegan Parker's lawyer said.
Okay, his lawyer, Mr. Pond, said he had no intention of consorting with the prostitutes therein. He was eating his chips. The ladies were rude to him.
You know what, though, lads? I've often thought to myself, I look at a bus stop and I think, will I eat my chips in the bus stop? Or will I go in to the brothel?
It's a wee bit of class in it, Jim. The next step up.
It's just easy, you think. And we've all been faced with that dilemma. You have the chips, you have the rain, you think, that bus shelter does offer some shelter.
We found another hole in the story as well. So he said he went in to phone a taxi, but he's got his phone there.
Yeah. Oh. He wanted to use their phone probably, or his own phone that's in there, surely.
I'm guessing that Blackpool CID didn't have to kind of get Sherlock Holmes in to crack this case.
No.
Just a thought, just a thought.
We can't put this bit. We can't put this bit in the podcast, but the other person with him was apparently.
So when you think of that shirt, obviously you think of you in there naturally. You also think of Frank McAvenny, but who else?
Yes. Now it's a great comedy name, yeah, but it's Chris Morris.
Okay,
not him, right? who we got from Sheffield Wednesday, who in truth, the year he wore that shirt was brilliant, right? But very, very quickly, the season after it, I clocked that he was now. Have you ever been in a football crowd where you're the only one that sees it? Right?
Yeah, probably.
Everybody else thinks he's good, and you're like that. Oh, contraire. Yeah, okay. And don't get me wrong, Celtic have had a lot worse players. They've had a lot of players that are even, worse than him. And he was a nice lad as well. I met him once. He's a lovely Cornish lad. He genuinely has got a Cornish pasty shop.
What?
In Newquay. Yep, in Newquay.
Well, after Jim drove him out of Glasgow, he had to do something, didn't he, Niall?
He did. But that was the thing. That was the thing. It wasn't. I say we've had worse. We've had a lot worse. But it was the fact that everybody else,
So that's not really.
It's you. It's you putting him off. You're putting him off watching him in the crowd.
I literally was the lone voice, right? and that's what made the ire even worse. Do you know what I mean? Because we've always, every day crowd, you've got a guy, and you've normally got 5 or 6 here, they'll go, you're right, you shit. And there's a kind of, you form a bond at that point. No.
Brothers.
No, exactly, right? I'm literally the only guy going, has anybody clocked at this guy's and they were like, no, you're on your own. And you're in the pub after it, kind of saying, I thought he was shit. No, he's really good. But I thought, no, he's fuck. And all of a sudden, the rage is building, right? That deep, heated. That now he left Celtic in 91 or 92 to go to Sheffield. I think he went back to Sheffield Wednesday. Don't care where the he went. Right?
Do you remember that day very clearly? The day you found out that he was transferred?
The rage against Chris Morris burns as brightly now. Right?
Jim drove him. Jim drove him down.
30 years later. But,
But Brass Eye was good, wasn't it? So
I did. Because even that was a thing as well. People say, I really like Chris Morris. I've a wee kind of nervous the comedian, all right, okay. We can be friends then,
I like how the comedian Chris Morris is less controversial than the footballer Chris Morris.
Oh, for me, absolutely, 100%. Making Noel Edmonds talk about Bielefeld and whatever. Crack on, lads, brilliant. Attempt to deliver all into the box, under no pressure and still hit the first defender. Now that's a problem.
Oh, wow. So it was like an overlapping fullback and everything. It was like a pioneer, really, I think.
yeah.
Right. So you're me starting now, you pair of It was what they used to call back in the day a converted winger. Right? Which meant that he was a winger. Right? But he was on a load of money, so they had to find somewhere for him, so they thought, you can play at fullback. Yeah.
Jim's gone full Graham Souness on Pogba.
Absolutely.
Chris Morris is going to be in his pasty shop listening to this tomorrow. Fuming.
Oh.
I knew that were looking at me.
Who else? When you think of the shirt, is there any other names, or is it just Chris Morris and a rage?
No, just McAvenny and Chris Morris, and that kind of whole team, because it was to get football-y for a second. It was the best season I've ever had supporting the team.
Yeah,
because it was a centenary season. It was a big deal, and it was brilliant. And I went to every game bar one. But one of the funniest things is, I worked for a company at the time. I kind of keep quiet what I do in the real world, because I don't know if you've noticed, but Twitter's full of
Imagine
who knew. But what I worked at, so I worked at this company who at that time had business with the SFA. So the boss came over to my desk on the Friday afternoon and said, look, you going to the game tomorrow? It was a Scottish Cup semi-final. I was like, yeah. I said, going tomorrow. I said, look, we've got these 2 tickets for effectively the director's box at Hampden. Do you want them? And I said, yeah. He said, no.
Nah,
look.
you're all right, mate.
He said, no. He said, no, look. Well, I had a ticket for the game anyway. He said, look, he said, just remember that you're there representing the company and you're in the director's box and just basically whatever. But I thought I wanted the experience, so I said, right, I'll take them, and I'll take my girlfriend, who, bizarrely, she was my girlfriend in 1988, and after some unpleasantness, she stopped being my girlfriend in 1989, and she started being my girlfriend again 3 years ago. Right?
Oh,
In fact, this is where I am just now, right? This is where I am just now, and we're back together.
Oh.
So that day, it's a lovely story. So that day we go to the game, right? And I've got, because we've got to wear a suit, right? And Elaine's very, very pretty girl, whatever. So I'm in a suit, I've got a wee Celtic tie on, and she looks every inch the footballer's girlfriend as well, right? So I'm walking up to the ground and I'm getting asked for my autograph. Right?
Is that Barca Jim?
Okay, so I'm like, yeah, in we go. So we go into the game and I'm sitting in my seat in the director's box, and in front of me is an ex-Celtic player, George McCluskey, right in front of me, and then just in front of my side is ex-Rangers manager Jock Wallace, and the guy who manufactured the Morris Johnson transfer to Rangers, Bill McMurdo, wee Rangers sitting in front of me. You know?
Oh.
So I've got this in my mind, and I love, my boss was a good guy, and I didn't want any unpleasantness. So I'm genuinely behaving myself, right? I think just in the start of the second half, Hearts go 1-0 up, right? 89th minute, Hearts are still 1-0. Right. Ball comes into the box, boom, equalise in the last minute. Yeah, beauty. I ram my hands under the seat so as I don't jump up. So I'm like, oh, jolly good show, Celtic. Well played. That's just the ticket. I'm thinking to myself, brilliant. Replay Wednesday night, pints for the boys. This top on, give it plenty. Beautiful. Job's a good one. Then, 1 minute into injury time, we only go and score a winner, don't we? Right. So at that point, the behave yourself, calm yourself down, remember you're representing the company stuff. Now that can right off, right? So I'm up out my seat. I'm doing this to these Hearts fans sitting next to me. Like, get it right up there. I jump on this ex-Celtic player, George McCluskey, and then Bill McMurdo kind of looks round to see what the thing is, and I'm like, and you can it up as well, yeah. It's like that.
Was it Chris Morris that bagged the winner?
No, God. No, that was his season. He was okay. That was his okay. I was okay with that season. But yeah, but it's like that. So I'm sitting after it, and my girlfriend, she's kind of looking at me, kind of going, "Do you remember Bob's last words to you on Friday?" I was like, "Yeah, kind of up, haven't I?" She went, "I think you're going to be all right," because thankfully the whole place had gone mental, apart from one or two, whatever. So that whole season was just it was just everything about it was just fantastic. It's just brilliant.
But the worst season you've ever had must have been a season where you just finished second. Which
That's
to
what
me,
I'm going to say.
if Huddersfield finished second, I'd be buzzing. I'd be like, yes.
Well, same again though. In the mid-90s, Celtic were finishing fifth.
What?
You know,
No way.
Oh, absolutely. We like the thing you're seeing at Man United just now. We had all of that, like demonstrations against. Like there was a change of board. We came within a couple of hours of going out of business. You know, in the early 90s. Of course, that was when I had a season ticket. So I'm kind of like, when people were saying to me, you know, "Oh, you're winning the league every year, is that not getting boring?" I was like, "No, that can
I don't like that.
I've been at the other end. I know what one of the two I prefer, you know, finishing fifth and all that. Oh God! Oh, listen to some absolutely desperate seasons at that time. Jesus! Oh, it's not all been you know, it's been largely in my lifetime. It's been largely a bed of roses, but no, there was a 5 or 6 year period where it was, you know, when a Blackpool fan or whatever fan would say, you guys don't know what it's like, but trust me, we do, you know, because when the converse of that thing you said there about, you come in second, but in Glasgow, if you're Celtic or Rangers, coming second is like getting relegated. Do you know what I mean?
Fair enough.
Just because it's just, if you don't win, then you're do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everything's going to work. You're do you know what I mean? Getting in a taxi, because this is stuff you might not obviously think the night, but there is even just daffy things. You'll open a taxi door and you'll look in and you'll just see a wee bit of blue, right? Or you'll see a bit of orange. You'll go, talking to him about football, you know. Or you get into the taxi and you'll see the rosary beads round you see the rosary beads round the mirror. You're like, I'm okay here, lads. You know,
this is a safe space.
Well, or you go to the shop in the morning and the guy behind it, you know, if you've won that weekend, and you can just see the wee smile on somebody's face, and it's imperceptible to the untrained eye, right? But you walk in, you go, he's one of the boys, you know, or if you've got beat and you walk in and you see the imperceptible smile like that, yeah, one of them, you know. It's
like Freemasons.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's great though. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's absolutely got some horrific elements to it. But at its core, all it is just football rivalry. You know, if Blackpool shared the city, you know, shared the town with another team, do you know what I mean? You know,
yeah.
albeit it might be a smaller.
Can't even imagine it.
A smaller thing, but you would still get that. You know, you would still get that. It's just a bigger scale because it's Celtic, Rangers, and Glasgow's. They've got.
I don't think the people in Blackpool are even too bothered about Blackpool, are they? Never mind another team.
Listen,
we've got a similar thing with United and Liverpool fans in Blackpool.
Is there no rivalry with like Fleetwood?
Well, Fleetwood's too small, isn't it?
Oh, is it? Is it too far away?
No, it's sort of part of it, and sort of is it? It's part of Blackpool, and it isn't. What's your memory in that shirt?
The great thing is my memory in that shirt. I don't have a memory of it. I went to a game. I think it was August at Ibrox. And I got off the bus I was on, supporters bus, to get to the ground, already hammered. And when I got off the bus, one of the boys said, I can't drink anymore. Do you want this bottle of Thunderbird? Now, when asked that question 30 minutes before an Old Firm game, do you want a bottle of Thunderbird, right? There are two answers that you can give to that question. The first is yes, and the second one is yes. Right? So, caned the bottle of Thunderbird, me and my mate caned it, and that's the last thing I remember until the following morning, probably waking up and remembering that we got beat 5-1.
Have you ever had a poo at the football?
Yes. Because literally that period I was talking about, the period of Celtic's history.
You had a period as well. Bloody hell.
Oh no, now. Right. This is going to get unpleasant now, right? When Rangers were doing their 9 in a row, we stopped them doing 10 in a row. And we stopped them doing 10 in a row in the last 10 minutes of the last game of the season, right? Now, I did 9 years of just Chris Morris, basically.
Call back.
Indeed. 9 years of that. We're 1-0 up at half time, but a goal from St Johnstone means it's all over. So I went down at half time and I realised I couldn't come back up and watch the game. Understand? I was so nervous. So I went into the toilet and I just stood there because I knew what was about to happen, right? So the door, and I go into the cubicle. Now, have you ever been in a football cubicle?
I avoid the toilets at the football.
Unless you're in there to do cocaine, there is no reason for you to go in to a cubicle in the football, right? But I did, because it just all gone, right? The adrenaline, everything had gone. Now, such was the level of my nerves and the fact that the flushers don't really work. I had a downstairs evacuation, right? And then such was my level of nerves that I then was having an upwards evacuation.
Ugh.
Now, because I knew I wasn't going to be going, I couldn't leave it, so I had to stand up, shimmy around, and then forward evacuate, which I did do. But obviously that's breaking the kind of seal that the toilet paper had left, and there was a waft, which then exacerbated that whole thing. So yes, I have had simultaneous
in answer to your question
shit in a football toilet, and I will tell you this, not recommended.
Well done, Jim.
Not one of my proudest moments.
Yeah.
But
the worst for me is one time at football, it were Burnley away, and it were season that weren't very good. So we're getting relegated, and gets to about half time, and like Delroy Faces had about 8 headers that he's just skied a million miles over. And then I start to smell the smell, and the person next to me, didn't know him, had just shot himself.
What?
So every time I think of Delroy Facey now, I can feel that smell. It's like omnipresent. I have never shat myself while watching Delroy Facey play football. Let's just put it out there.
But that doesn't rule out the fact that you've shat yourself watching other people playing football. Okay.
Oh no, Jim's like a lawyer.
Yeah, again, I've got a lawyer there.
Jim knows. Oh, the shame.
Actually, I don't think I've ever shat myself or pissed myself at the
Chris
football.
Morris.
At the football. Got so angry one game at Chris Morris that
let's not
came out.
Let's be not opening that can of worms. Listen, let me tell you, there's stuff about growing old that's good, and stuff that's really not good. Like the other day there, right? Genuine other day there. Last Monday, I am doing nose hair trimmer. Okay?
Yeah.
Not pleasant, but that's what you're doing. The day after it, I had a spot, and I'm thinking, squeezing a pluck, and I'm thinking to myself, this is like a really Benjamin Button film. This is. Right? So I've gone from a situation where 57 I am, right? And I reckon it's 9 years since I've trusted a fart. A good 9 years. You know that you two can do it just like that. Oh, you just give it the old, up you go.
I can imagine Niall farts all the time. Must be a nightmare.
Yeah, but no. There's a special jeopardy that comes with it, lads. You just don't understand. There's a gurgling noise.
Oh,
right?
Jim.
I feel sick.
Stop.
You
Stop.
lads, under the age of 40, you've never heard it. Over the age of 40,
Stop.
you hear
Please.
it. It's a gurgle. Yeah.
Oh,
Preparing you for it, guys. Just preparing you for it.
Jim,
I would hate to think when you're 42.
What about just going to a doctor?
Right, here's the thing right now, okay? I am all about equal rights. I am down with the sisterhood, all of that. I like to think, but blokes that go to the doctors when they've got something wrong with them, don't trust them. Don't trust them.
Niall, when was the last time you went to doctors?
My dad did this the other day, you know. He pulled out his leg and it was like purple. And he said, it's been there since Christmas.
There we go. Christmas. There you go. That's your role model right there.
There you go.
Right.
And then he went,
when was the last time that you went?
Excruciating pain and a significant change of colour to something that you've never seen before. Okay. And at that point, you'll go, I'll go next week. Your dad is a bloke, 24 carat bloke.
No, I've not been for about 2 years, so I'm doing well. Niall, what about you?
I don't remember. I don't remember.
Up time.
I'm a hypochondriac, me.
When did you last go?
Oh, mate, I'm one of them people though. I'll see like a cancer advert on TV, and then I'll start panicking later on. So like when have you had a cough that's lasted? I'll be like, oh, that's been.
See when they do the and they're right. You should check your. I think I'd need to have 3 testicles before I went to the doctor about breast cancer, about testicular cancer. Check for a lump. I would need to have a lump the size of a third ball before I thought to myself, go along, well. I mean,
Sneaking in case you get a hard on.
Oh, that'd be it. That'd be game over.
What God gives with one hand, He takes away with the other. Trust me, over the age of 40 or over the age of 50, you're not worried about getting a hard on in that situation. Right? I mean, under the age of 20, going over roadworks in a bus. Right? Over 50, 3.5 blue pills and whatever, no drink for a week, and it's like, oh, I'm there. I'm nearly there. Lads, trust me. This is all ahead of you. This is all ahead of you.
I think I'd take impotency over a scenario where we go to the doctors for like a prostate exam and I just get like a full rock on.
So then
just 2 fingers. Can you not get any more in? I'd rather die.